Yell it.
Okay. My name is Cassidy. I'm here to speak or read the statement from the Canadian Peace Congress. The large-scale armed conflict between the Israeli state and Palestinian resistance forces, which began on October 7th, has rapidly and dangerously escalated. Israel has responded to Palestinian armed attacks inside Israel with indiscriminate strikes throughout the Gaza Strip, the West Bank, and even in Lebanon and Syria. Already, thousands have perished on both sides, and hundreds of thousands more have been displaced from their homes, especially in Gaza City. Furthermore, Israeli forces are now preparing to launch a devastating land offensive on Gaza, which will likely claim many more thousands of victims, mostly among the civilian population. This situation has the potential to escalate to a regional conflict. We call for an immediate ceasefire and an immediate halt to Israel's vicious retaliatory assaults. Yes. The historically inevitable bloodshed that has already started, has already taken too many lives, is of the Israeli state's own making. The Zionist state of Israel has no other party to blame for this human catastrophe. It would be beyond short-sighted to assume that the long-standing Israeli injustices and occupation wouldn't provoke reactions from the Palestinian people who hold the right to resist occupation, a principle firmly established in international law. However, this is not where the blame stops. The government of the United States is equally, if not more, responsible for the current tragedy. Decades of unconditional support for Israel's violations of international law and human rights, tens of billions of dollars worth of military aid to Israel, with eyes closed to the atrocities and terrorism committed by the Israeli military and settlers in occupied Palestinian territories, and persistent blocking of every effort of the international community to call Israel into account for its illegal actions, all have contributed to this horrendous situation.
Shame!
Raise your voice! Raise it!
Okay. We strongly condemn the current escalatory stance of the U.S. government, and in particular its decision to send at least one aircraft carrier strike group to the eastern Mediterranean in support of Israel, who after all is protecting the interests of NATO countries in the Middle East. The government of Canada is not without blame either. Shamefully, the Canadian government and all parties in Parliament have restated their full support for Israel's far-right government. While falsely accusing people who express solidarity with Palestine of anti-Semitism, just weeks after the Canadian Parliament gave 2 unanimous standing ovations to a Nazi veteran of World War II. In Quebec, the government falsely presents itself as operating from a position of neutrality in the conflict. Notwithstanding the multiple economic ties between the Quebec and Canadian economy to the state of Israel, Legault's government itself has shown its colors quite clearly with its ongoing project of opening a permanent diplomatic mission in Israel while roundly condemning the right of resistance of the Palestinian people. By spearheading unconditional support for Israel's apartheid government, which ultimately defends the interests of NATO countries in the Middle East, the governments of the United States and Canada bear primary responsibility for this conflict. We call on the U.S., Canadian, and Quebecois governments to acknowledge and condemn the indiscriminate and genocidal bombardment of Gaza by the Israeli government and to demand implementation of UN resolutions now. This is the only road to lasting peace in the region and for the survival of the Palestinian people.
Free Palestine! 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 Free Palestine!
The international community must take every possible collective action to stop this bloodshed immediately and to achieve a political solution based upon the principles of UN Resolution